What's up, Aquarius? This is Soul from Intuitive Tarot, here to look at your week ahead, starting October 20th, 2025. Aquarius, my water bearers, I hope all is well. Welcome to the new subscribers to the channel. I appreciate you. The deck I am using will be listed in the description box. Not reading any reversals, just want to cleanse the energies real quick from doing Capricorn's messages for the week. And we're about to see what is the potential energy that is coming up for you guys. Give me all the messages here for Aquarius. The energies for Aquarius. What are the messages for Aquarius? All right, didn't turn over, so we won't use that one. All right, let's give it a cut and begin your messages, Aquarius, to see what's potentially coming up or in store for you. Well, we have the Eight of Swords that's going to start your energy off. Eight of Swords, you can see she is surrounded by the Eight of Swords. She's blindfolded. And I always say when this card shows up, you got to be careful. It's the trick card. But you can always see yourself out of a situation. Nothing is too pressing that you can't overcome. Okay, but this card still represents fears, doubts, suspicion, worries, possibly sleepless nights. Oftentimes read the Eight of Swords as maybe there's a break in communication with family members, friends, romantic partners, whether or not they're near or far. And the trick side of this is that you have to be careful that you're not infiltrating your own mind, worrying about something specific, placing energy on an event or situation that has yet to cross your path. And then, I always say 9 times out of 10, if it does, it never turns out the way that you compiled it in your mind. So that's the disservice that you do to yourself. So be very, very careful with that energy. But if this week approaches you and you're dealing with the Eight of Swords type of energy, just work on reducing the conflicting energies that are surrounding you the best that you can, and you should be okay. But if you don't do anything at all, then it just builds up and it just may lead to the Nine of Swords energies, which is much worse. Following the Eight of Swords, now we have the Warrior. Warrior here is the Chariot. So usually with the Chariot, major arcana here, something very positive is about to approach you. Again, traveling may be involved, and if you are going to travel, Aquarius, you're going to be safe to and from. Some of you may experience car repairs, major or minor. Just don't be the Aquarius that gets behind any source of any vehicle. Disregard the speeding limit. You will end up with a moving violation. But because you have the Chariot, the Warrior here, I equate the Chariot with your own energies, the Star card, so you have an additional major arcana, your own energy, the Star card, so you get all of that energy as well. So, of course, what you're hoping for, wishing for, praying for may manifest for you. I always talk about dream journaling, stargazing, meeting someone famous. When it comes to any types of expansion or development with your own psychic energies, that's a possibility. Social media, social network, and any types of engagements, usually that's pretty positive as well. Something exciting or surprising may happen for you along the way this week, Aquarius. All right. So following that, major arcana, the Chariot. Now we have, now you got the fallout. Okay. So, Capricorn just received that. Now you have it. So twice that is shown up here. Not to despair here. And because you have your own energy, the Star and the Chariot, that's going to take down the energy of the, the Tower significantly. But usually when the Star and the Tower are in the same spread. Okay. Now, even though the Star is not physically here, it's the ghost energy. But still, I would say that with the Tower and the Star, we are going to hear about someone famous passing away. It never fails. Okay. Never fails. All right, so don't be too surprised to hear about someone passing in any capacity, male or female. And the last time that I did the reading and I brought that energy up when the Star and the Tower was present, we lost Diane Keaton. Okay, and someone, brought that up to my attention, and I'm like, okay, there we go. That's the Star and the Tower. So it could be from any capacity, male or female, and but they're usually famous. They're, usually worldly known. Okay, so we'll hear about that, and maybe multiple, because the tower is so unpredictable. It may be multiple famous people that we hear about just in 1 week's time, and it's happened in the past. So I wouldn't be too surprised. But anyway, the tower will still be an expression of anything going on with our weather. I always throw in earthquakes, just crazy stuff that goes on throughout the world that may not even have anything to do with you, but the shock event, devastation, you may, come to know because of what's happening or occurring in another place or to some, other area. So I always, tell you guys I don't like throwing clarifiers on the tower. Is very unpredictable. No one card or cards is going to hone in on exactly what could be taking place this week. So that's why I always reserve not throwing clarifiers on the tower. But anyway, I feel that you're safe. Don't worry about it. Following the fallout here, now we have the Nine of Cups again. So you have the Nine of Cups, the Chariot. It mirrors over here to the Chariot, but the Nine of Cups is the other card that also I equate with your own energies, the Star card. So actually, you have a double star cards here, right? So again, that is going to take down the energy of the tower as well. So you get all of that energy that I just talked about, involving your own energies here again with the Nine of Cups. Nine of Cups is the wish fulfillment card, right? The yes answer to all romantic questions. Let me swing back here to the tower because, it follows the relationship card. Aquarius, do not get yourself engaged with any fights or arguments with anyone, no matter in what capacity, because it never turns out to be pretty. That's just my advice to you guys. So it's not an even number of cups, but still on an emotional scale, what you put out there is what you're going to get back. Also, it's in a group of cards that if you receive it, you could already be receiving that energy from those that are nearest and dear, right? So that is the Nine of Cups in addition with the second ghost star card in your spread. Wow. All right. So up next is the Four of Swords, detaching your energies here, right? Momentarily. This could be just in the form of taking a day off from work, taking a break, quieting your mind, doing some sort of replenishment or relaxation. Could be, if you are planning the trip with the Chariot here, you could be planning the trip this week, also executing that trip during this time. But I feel the emphasis is to really just, take a step back here, Aquarius. Maybe you can, it could be seen as a reduction of having to deal with the Four of Swords energies, that you are working on those conflicts. Oftentimes, too, with the Eight of Swords, I forgot to mention, too, it feels like maybe you're being pulled in several different directions, either of your own doing or coming in from other people in terms of a decision or making decisions. Okay, so keep that in mind. And it may not have anything to do with, all the other things that I had mentioned. Oftentimes with the Eight of Swords and the Nine of Swords, I get that there's a lot of things going on that could be burdening you about having to make a decision about something, okay? Could be family matters. It could be work-related matters. It could be your, matters over your money, whatever the situation may be. It's just like you got a lot of stuff going on. All right, so that's the Four of Swords. Following the Four of Swords, now we have the Nine of Pentacles, one of my financial independent cards, and this is also, too, one of my big money cards. So you could be recognized for some energies here, and that could be straight from your employer in terms of a promotion, pay raise, bonus money. I oftentimes read the Nine of Pentacles as contract offers, job offers, could be anything involving types of businesses. I also too read the Nine of Pentacles as spending and splurging. If you have access to this type of money and you want to treat yourself or treat others to something very nice, luxurious, you're not to feel guilty about it, just go ahead and do it. The Nine of Pentacles always comes in to let you know that you are worthy of treating yourself and treating others to something very nice and luxurious because you worked hard, and now it's time for you to sit back and, relax and enjoy the work of your fruits of your work and your hard labor. Okay. Following that, now we have the Queen of Wands. Queen of Wands represents a focus that you are on. Could be a person, a situation, or event. Simply, when I use this deck, she holds the guitar. You could just be the Aquarius that I'm reading for that just is a music lover that listens to music all the time. She's a court card. So again, she's very intense. She's very passionate. She usually goes after whatever she is focused on. She can express herself in a sexual manner. And underneath the tower here, this is the advice that I have, given to you before I even drawn the card. The court card here is not to engage in any types of disputes or arguments with anyone, because it's not going to be turned out to be pretty. All right. For other Aquarians, you could be just not only a music lover, but you could be attending a musical event this week, but also you could be someone that plays a musical instrument. Following the Queen of Wands here for you, now we have the Nine of Swords. See, I just talked about the Four of Swords and the Eight of Swords. So anyway, the Nine of Swords, if you don't work on having to... Okay, I'm looking at this here. Even though the cards that I've drawn for you, Aquarius, look, somewhat more positive than it is negative, I'm looking at the connections here. All right, so we have the Nine of Swords, right? And, I'm going back up here to the Eight of Swords here. Be careful when it comes to having to deal with flat tires, okay? I just see punctures in a tire or something like that. Anyway, but now we have the Nine of Swords that sits underneath the Nine of Cups. The Nine of Swords is read, in terms of the meanings and the messages, overthinking, feeling betrayed. Now this here represents love, relationships. So there could be some Aquarian that I'm reading for that's having some sort of difficult time with a relationship. It doesn't necessarily have to be romantic. It could be anything that's going on with the family. It could be platonic friendship, definitely romantic partnerships, but also too, it could be linked to something that has not resolved itself over time. So this is like, going back into the past, you're still dealing with this energy here, trying to maybe at some point you try to come to some sort of resolve with some sort of conflicting energies with someone that you were, like again, it could be family, it could be romantic partners, it could be a friend. And you still could be reeling over that or have not come to some sort of conclusion or resolution. This is a card that is about having to deal with some sort of deception, betrayals, and being lied to. This is a high degree of fears, worries, overthinking. And again, like I said before with the Eight of Swords here, Aquarius, feeling like you're being pulled in several different directions when it comes to having to make a decision about something. All right. So it's all of that, but it also could be some energy that's not even expressed towards you, but it could be that you just happen to know somebody and they're dealing with some sort of restrictions or barriers, and oftentimes pick up, it could be that they're physically behind bars, incarcerated, all right? Reaching for some sort of relief. This card is always indicative of someone having to deal with some sort of pain and suffering, and that pain and suffering is usually done in silence. Maybe nobody knows the kind of, pain and suffering that you could be dealing with if it is you. All right. Seeking some sort of relief could be just drinking too much, smoking weed, smoking cigarettes, could be anything in the form of prescription medication for depression. When it comes to that depression and anxiety, it's usually a higher degree. All right. So you want to definitely work on these energies. And again, the Four of Swords, just because it was placed here and underneath the Eight of Swords, it still could be seen as the reduction of both of these energies, the Eight of Swords as well as the Nine of Swords. Following that, on top of the Four of Swords here for your Aquarius, now we have the Strength card. So you have the card that comes in to overcome any obstacles or challenges that you may be dealing with, regardless if it's involving the Nine of Swords or the Tower. This is going to take down the energy of the Tower once again. Feeling strong, breaking the barriers here. Definitely breaking the barriers here. The Eight of Swords and Nine of Swords, feeling your own power. Nothing's going to prevent you from doing whatever it is that you need to deal with. So there's courage valor. There's all kinds of good stuff. A high degree of passion, intensity. You get all of that with the Strength card. All right, on top of the Nine of Pentacles here for you, now you have the Major Arcana, the Devil. Again, seems like we always draw this Devil. The Devil will not be used to take down the energy of the Tower because, you know, it has its own source of energy here. But usually when the Devil shows up here, Aquarius, that means that we have to address something, bring something to the surface. Now, it could be our own bad habits. That could be anything involving, you know, whatever bad habits that you have, dealing with toxicity, could be toxic relationships, could be unrequited love, could be dealing with drinking, smoking, could be gambling. And when it comes to an excess, it could be pornography. We want to break the chains and the things that are holding us back, restricting us from the devil's lure. Okay, that's what the devil does. It keeps something that we're doing, Aquarius, that we're repeating. That is not really healthy for us in the long term. All right, so you know I could spend, you know, all night trying to figure that out, but you know what it is. And usually when the devil shows up here, doesn't matter if it's your sign or someone else's sign. This is always having to address something going on with you or someone who is in association with you. Because if it's not your addictions, it could be the addictions of the people that you are closest to, but it's affecting or impacting the relationship that you have. So we're talking about obsessing, feeling addicted to something or someone. All right. All right, so following that, on top of the Queen of Wands, now we have the Page of Wands. Page of Wands still would be the instance of energy coming to you very fast. It could be the deliverance from an actual person, whether or not they're, you know, a younger fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, doesn't really matter. This is starting new pursuits and hobbies, beginning stages and passions. It could be a new relationship. Okay, but there's a touch of surprise or element of surprise with the Page of Wands. Last card on top of the Nine of Swords. And you know what? I forgot to throw a clarifier on that Nine of Swords. This week I won't throw a clarifier, Aquarius, so I do apologize for that because normally I do try to hone in. But the connection that I made was because it sat right underneath the card that represents love and relationships, and I immediately went in to say that someone is still having to deal with some sort of loose ends when it comes to a relationship specific to them. All right, on top of the Nine of Swords here, we have the Ten of Swords. Okay, so the Ten of Swords is actually pretty good. Ten of Swords, there's a completion of energy or a situation that you may have been dealing with that's coming to an end this week, and something new is about to approach or open up for you. Now, if it's not you, Aquarius, it could be someone that you know, could be just planning some sort of future inpatient or outpatient surgical procedures. It's going to be painful, yes, but the promise of the Ten of Swords is always recovery as well as relief. All right, so this is what I have for us this week, Aquarius. Just keep in mind, it's me interpreting these messages here for you. Take what's going to work for you. Leave the rest alone. Have a safe, great week ahead. Always placing that extra energy of safety and caution when the Tower is present in the spread, but you have these other cards here that's going to definitely substantially take down the energy of the Tower for you. So I don't think it's personally going to impact you, but you may hear about the things that I had already talked about, that there could be some passings of some sort of famous people in some capacity, male or female, and maybe multiple. All right, so always come back here to get more of these messages from me, Aquarius, and I'll talk to you real soon. Ciao.